Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's Cypher Sigma here, and it's Wednesday, so it's another look what I am watching. So we're getting, we've done over half a year's worth for it. So again, appreciate you coming along. Obviously, we didn't do one last week, so the pile has stacked up. So we are currently here, mostly DVDs. We've got a Blu-ray and a Steelbook there, not to give too much away. So let's not be around the bush. We've got a lot to get into, so I'll go into reverse order of what I watched last and then we'll go. So the first one we have, which I bought recently, I watched yesterday, was Spark. So this is a animated movie, not a bad animated movie from, I think it's from 2016. Only 87 minutes long. Has quite a good voice cast in it, and it is about a dictator who comes along and destroys half of this monkey's planets. The young lad who survives, he lives on kind of the junk part of the planet that is floating off into the distance, but he wants to basically, as he's growing up, he's turning 13, he's with the rebels, and the rebels are training him to kind of go against the big boss, and then that is kind of the story. It mentions it kind of Star Wars versus monkeys, and they are kind of right in a way. I say it's good animation, good fight. It's not that amazing, but it is really good. It's enjoyable, definitely enjoyable for the kids if you have them along. And yeah, not a bad film. So I think it's £2 it cost me, so I was quite glad to add that in. So the next one we have Christina Ricci in Miranda. Yeah, this is. I found this one of a bit of strange. It's a very British film. I want to say it's the 90s, but I could be totally wrong. Does it have a 2004? Basically, this is Christina Ricci. She comes into the world of somebody who works at a museum. He falls in love with her, and then basically he's kind of a little bit besotted by her. She seems to be a very kind of chameleon character now. She's very close with him, doesn't give away much of her life, and she seems to have dealings with other men, and you don't know what it is. It turns out she works for a gentleman to kind of con people out of money, and by doing that she kind of becomes defendant or changes her image to match the person, to kind of entice them in as she's part of the deal, but not. And yeah, I just found it a little strange and stuff. I say it's very British cheesy film, not the best film. She's been in there. There's John Sim as well, John Hurt, he's in it. But yeah, it is a little bit of a weird, oddball one. I say it was okay for worth a watch. Maybe you need to watch it with someone else. Maybe it's quite good as a couple film, but that's it for me. I'll add it to the collection. I say it's always one of those films. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset for it, but there we are. So next one, revisiting the 80s, and we have Brewster's Millions. Never seen this movie before. I do like Richard Pryor and I do like John Candy. So anybody who hasn't seen this, John Pryor plays Brewster. He's a baseball player, and unfortunately, he's the recipient of a will because his granddad, who is a rich billionaire, has died. Basically, he can inherit 300 million. But to do that, what he is given is a task. Is he gets given 30 million and 30 days, and he has to spend that money basically at the end of the 30 days to have spent all of it and not have anything to show for it. No collateral, no clothes, no nothing. And it's his story of basically people trying to screw him over, or when you have much money and try and give it away, it keeps coming back of. Yeah, and it's a very up and down movie, quite classic. It ends quite abruptly. That would probably be my least favourite bit of it. It's kind of there is an ending, but then you could have had a follow-on scene, I think. But I quite liked it. I say, going back, I'm a big fan of the 80s and stuff like that, and Richard Pryor stuff. I've never seen it before. It's a really enjoyable hour and a half to sit there and look, and to see that they don't make movies like that, like they do in the past. It's more there's nothing like that recently out. So next one, so this is on my top 100 movies. This is Lawrence of Arabia. For me, I'd heard of this, never even thought or contemplated this, and for anybody out there who's like Lawrence of Arabia, that's fine. This is basically an army man, Corporal Lawrence, and that's why it's called Lawrence in Arabia. Never ever realised that. And basically, he is very different. He is not quite your army man, and he is sent to Arabia to basically help the governing bodies to kind of take over the country because they're split and stuff. And he's helping the British forces over there. It's split into two bits. It's quite a long film. It's 3 hours and 38 minutes, I think, in total. So I had to watch it in two parts, which is split up this edition's 2 discs. So I watched one disc, which was 2 hours and 10, and then the other hour and a half. I did really like the first half of this film. The second half, it gets quite dark. Obviously, when you're dealing with war and people dying and stuff like that, it does get quite harsh. I can see, because the subject matter and what was done, and there are massive fights of people on horses and camels and shooting on trains going over, and there's these big set pieces and stuff. And for back in the day, it's really, really good. Obviously, Peter O'Toole, it's the first kind of major film I've seen him as a kid or as a younger man. But I must admit, I did really like it. I think it's a good film. I not necessarily think it's a great film going from day and age, but I can see back in the day why it was regarded as it is, and I'm glad to have watched it. Have it in my collection, obviously, getting through the top 100, not many left now. So next one is the 4K edition of Transformers, obviously one of my top 5 movies of all time. I'm glad to have bought this. I think £19 it cost me, and obviously Shattered Glass. And yeah, actually the upscale works really well, 4K. There are some bits I think lacking, but there are some bits where the animation actually looks a lot cleaner and a lot smoother than the normal Blu-ray and the DVD that I have. So this is probably this and The Crow, I think, are the ones that I have the most copies of. But I'm not, I think most of the stuff is on this. I might even get rid of the Blu-ray because the Blu-ray is already featured in here, so it has the same. And I keep the DVD because it has extra bonus stuff on it. So that Transformers, I love it. I say it's in my top 5. Next one we go for is Us. So this is Jordan Peele's second movie, I believe, after Get Out. Was not a big fan of Get Out. Watch this. I would say this is my favourite of his movies. I wouldn't say it's the best movie, and anybody who doesn't know, it is a girl. She goes on holiday with her family, and then basically people in jumpsuits turn up, but they are like mirror images of her, her partner and her 2 kids, and they basically try and go and kill people. It turns out that there's loads of Lees in the neighbourhood, and they're all coming out trying to kill their opposites, and then they're trying to all join hands around the world, and there's kind of a subtle undertone, and this is the story's a little bit weird of how all these people exist, and they're kind of government related, but it doesn't elaborate too much. There is a quite nice twist, like in the end, that you don't really see coming. There are subtle links to it, but I thought it was good. The main lady in it, if I can find her name, Lupita Nyong'o, if I pronounce that probably wrong, I do apologise. She's actually really, really good. This is, her's the main actress, and the story's really, really good. There's a few little flat bits, but I think overall she does carry this quite well. So there's a few little bit, once you get the concept of what's going on and then the twist, I thought it is good overall. Not the greatest movie as regarded as it seems to be, but I liked it. Didn't love it. So next one, so this was a gift from AJ's Movie Place. This is Fat Man. So this is Mel Gibson as Santa Claus. Turns out that obviously people are not believing as much in Santa Claus, especially one kid, and he hires this assassin, and the assassin goes to kill Santa. Really, really good, realistic view of what Santa may be now in this day and age, with people not believing in him and a few twists and turns and stuff. But I really liked it. Mel Gibson's really good. This is from Saban Studios, which is, if anybody knows from kids, that Saban did Power Rangers and Beetleborgs and stuff like the VR Troopers and all this stuff. So it's nice they've got a studio doing a bit more serious films, and I really, really liked this. I thought it was a really nice take on it. There's some good action scenes in it. I do like the whole interpretation of what they would actually be like, the elves and stuff like this, and how he gets around, and the believing of Kris Kringle and stuff. And it is just from beginning to end, and really, really good. I did watch a new movie of his from Saban, Mel Gibson's On the Line, which I thought was really, really good as well. So Mel, pleasant surprise of Mel. Thank you very much for the gift, AJ. Absolutely love this movie, so I'm really glad to have this. And then the final thing we have, Things We Lost in the Fire. So this is Halle Berry. Her partner, David Duchovny, and this, or husband, he dies, and it's the connection between her and Benicio del Toro's character, who is his friend, who is a drug addict, who's trying to, get into rehab but struggles and stuff, and it's the connection between these two, because these two never got on why her husband was alive, and afterwards they find a connection, and it's them struggling. Again, it is a very realistic real world of addiction and pain and suffering and everything you go through, and I thought how this worked was really, really well. I think it's just under 2 hours, 1 hour and 30 minutes, so not too far from it, but it is really, you see how the two characters connect, and struggle, and they both have their own issues and stuff, and how they're dealing with it, and he doesn't necessarily get clean by the end of it, but he gets his hurdles to get closer to that goal, hopefully. And I did like that, and how he interacts, and it kind of takes place as the husband but not as the husband and everything. So that was my final watch. So that has been Look What I've Been Watching for this week. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm sure I'll be back with another one.